right. If you were listening to part 1 and we got left with Anita giving us that love story of all times, but I want to kind of move it over to DSV now. And we left it that Greg bought you a car.
Greg helped me get a car.
Helped you get a car.
Yes. I wish he would have bought me a car.
Yeah, totally.
Gosh, I would have kissed him
Greg.
on the lips.
Got the car. What about the job now? Where are you at after the car?
Well, you just kind of get jobs in your 20s, and it's not really a dream job. But where everything started is I was working for this startup firm, an interior design firm, and I really believed that this couple believed in me. They were feeding me all the juice, all the gummy bears, and they just told me I was the best thing they had ever found. And after working for them for about 6 months, I had earned my first commission check. And 6 months in, I was salary plus commission. And on this day, my computer was about to shit the bed. I needed this check. And I was only paid once a month. So they said, in order to get your first commission check, we want to take you out to dinner. We want to celebrate. And I had just been working a 24-hour overnighter, no sleep. And they said, you still have to come to dinner with us in order to get this check.
Sounds creepy.
Sounds sus.
Yes. And when I arrived, there was a stack of papers at the dinner table, and they knew that I was half asleep. I was struggling to stay awake, and they had me sign these papers. I didn't know what they were. I didn't know what they meant. And I went home and I went to sleep. And the next day when I woke up, I had this pit in my stomach. I didn't know what I signed, but I had a feeling it wasn't good. And I was so afraid to even look at what I had signed that I had a friend look first. And the documents that I had signed basically said, you are ours for life. We are using you as a cash cow. They had taken out a key person insurance policy on me. So if anything ever happened to me, if I was sick, injured, or died, they would still get the revenue that I was producing. They had me sign a non-compete. They said that I would get 3% of their company, which, looking back, 3% is nothing. And I was never paid or compensated. Well, 6 months later, I had a couple who really did believe in me, more than I believed in myself. They were in their 40s, they had children, and somebody had helped them out. And they said, listen, Danielle, we feel that you should start your own interior design firm. And they said, we believe in you so much that we would be willing to loan you up to $50,000.
Wow.
Well,
Guardian angels all around you, Greg.
I know,
and
right?
now
So
this
many.
couple. I
know.
love it.
And I told them no. I did not want to owe anybody money. I had the fear of failure. And I told them, thank you so much. As I'm crying, saying, I can't believe you would offer me this. I said, there's no way I could ever accept it. And then I took a week and I made a list of pros and cons, because obviously you don't stop thinking about that offer. It wasn't a hard no where I just went to sleep and pretended it never happened. I couldn't stop thinking about it. And on my fridge at that time, I had read a book called The Passion Test. And what the book tells you to do is to narrow down your top passions and to hang them everywhere, wherever you look the most. And at that time, I was opening my fridge door a lot. So I put it on my fridge door. And the number one thing was to open up my own interior design firm. So I said, man, Danielle, what is standing in the way? What is the problem? And on my cons side of the list, the only thing I had was one word. And that word was fear. And I said, get over it. Toughen up.
Toughen up,
This
Danielle.
Opportunity of a lifetime. I went back to that couple. They wrote me a check for $45,000. And
What happened to the 50?
I know. What happened? She dropped. They dropped
said,
the 5 when she
well,
said no.
They said up to 50. And guess what? 2 weeks after owning my business, my ex-employer, the one who had me sign all those papers, sued me. They sued me, my assistant, and my company for $350,000, which was the amount I had brought to them
Lost
in that
revenue.
year. Lost revenue. And I needed to go back to my investors for the other 5 because I had to pay attorneys. And that first retainer was $7,500. So I needed every penny that they were willing to give me. And after fighting that lawsuit for 3 months, and after going to court, they dropped everything. because they were losing big time. Their attorney was charging them way more than I was paying my attorney.
Good.
And the best part was, what I learned from this is I accepted an offer from somebody, which I had never done. I never accepted help or money from anybody. If somebody offered to take me out to lunch, I would mail them the money back. I never could accept gifts or generosity. It was very difficult for me because I had always done everything myself, and I preferred that because then I didn't have to rely on anyone.
That's right.
Didn't owe anybody anything.
Yeah, exactly. And the things that the lady who gave birth to me, what she had done for me, she would always throw back in my face. So I just learned early on, you're paying for my dance classes. Well, now I'm paying for it in other ways. This isn't worth it. I'm just going to pay for dance myself.
I know that game.
And that game is not a fun game.
No, because they can hold everything over your head.
Yes.
All right. So you won the lawsuit.
I won the lawsuit. My attorney couldn't believe it. And he said, Danielle, I'm going to take you with me to negotiate my next house and my next car because I believed in myself and I believed in the truth. And I was just trying to go to work every day. I wasn't doing anything wrong. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a lawyer. I'm nobody important. I'm an interior designer, just trying to make people happy, giving people something that I never had. And that was why I was so passionate about it. My attorney was like, you can just switch careers and you won't have to worry about this because they're upset that you have a competing business and you've broken your fiduciary duty as a part owner of this company. And I just thought, the one thing I know I can give somebody else is something that I fought to have for myself. I never had a home. I had a house with a roof, but I never had a home. Therefore, the fact that I can give that to somebody else is my life purpose, which is why not having children or, I'm going through a separation, it doesn't steer me from, because my life purpose is different. It comes to me in the form of this passion that stemmed from childhood. So I never felt like I was deterred from my purpose.
How long have you been doing interior design now?
15 years.
Nice.
11 years for myself.
I love it.
And what's funny, when you talk about being a rebel as a kid, I always was hard-headed. I always knew what I wanted, and I always had high expectations for myself and those around me. Well, I also love designing. So I designed a tree house that was on the ground. So it was like a fort with all these beautiful tree limbs and branches. And I recruited the neighborhood kids. We were going to have a club. And obviously, I was the president.
Obviously.
Well, it was on the ground, which means that it was on dirt. And every day after school, we would meet at my tree fort, and I would start assigning roles to everyone. And one day, I was telling them that they had to sweep the floor. And they said, the floor is dirt, Danielle. And I said, you're going to sweep it because I like things clean. And the next thing you know, the whole neighborhood revolted against me. And they marched around my house and they said, Danielle has no friends. Danielle has no friends. And you know what? I don't regret what I did because I like a clean floor.
And just for those of you who don't know, if you ever go to DSV's house, make sure to take your shoes off before you
No
enter.
shoes. Absolutely
No
not.
shoes.
Guys,
Yeah.
I'm consistent, okay?
Yes.
I'm the same person who I was as a kid with the same passions and the same joys.
I know. I was, we dropped our puppies off because she was going to help us babysit over the 4th of July weekend. And we had to carry in crates, right? Because they snore and she didn't want to sleep with the snoring dogs, which I totally understand.
I mean,
you love them every other way.
Through that.
But I was like carrying these like crates and I was trying to get my shoes off. She's like, it's okay. I'm like, no, I know it's not. I know it's not. But you're good. You're not. You are OCD about it, but you're
But
realistic
I also know
about
that
it.
I can clean the wood
It's
floor.
okay. She let my kids tromp through her house and
In
was very
shoes?
generous and
Yeah.
loving. And my youngest might have peed on the side of the pool, like openly in front of everyone. So my feral child. And Danielle forgave us. So
Yes. Still love you.
All right, Megan. What did you do after your talkative solitude school year?
So I followed the American pursuit of college. I didn't know what I wanted to do or who I wanted to be. My dad was an auctioneer. I knew with every ounce of my being I did not want to be an auctioneer. because I didn't want to do what my father did. So I went to University of Colorado. I studied there and then transferred to to Georgia State back in Atlanta, spent time there. I ended up getting engaged, and similar to Anita, at a very young age, 2 weeks after we were engaged, he was diagnosed with acute lymphoblastic leukemia. And I don't know if you even knew this
I did not know
about
this.
me, Yvonne, but I
Yeah.
ended up dropping out of college and going to be his caregiver, his primary caregiver, and took care of him for about a year. He had bone marrow transplant, which unfortunately did not take, and then donor lymphocyte injection and chemo and radiation, and then to trial drugs. And unfortunately, his body was not at that point equipped to even handle the amount of, mystery drugs that they were attempting to save his life. And when I was 25, we got admitted to hospice, and he went home, and I crawled into bed with him, and he died in my arms.
That's so sad.
And
You had the long goodbye, and I didn't have a goodbye. And I've often wondered, which one is worse? Which one's better? They're both terrible.
the short goodbye is worse. There's no way. There's no question. The long goodbye is definitely, it's harder. You have to watch someone deteriorate, but
No.
At least you have some
I
closure.
have
You have
closure.
closure.
I got to
I'm
tell
just
him.
picturing you holding him in your arms.
Yes, I
I'm
got
thinking,
to tell
I
him
wish
what I
had
needed
that.
to say. We had, a lot of peace. He told me he knew he was going to die. And we had a fight about it. I remember we were laying in bed, and he said, I'm going to die. I need to let you know. And I was like, don't say that. Be positive, blah, blah, blah. But he said, when I die, don't worry. I'm going to make sure that you have the right man to take care of you. And I do. So it ended
Gave
up
me
working
chills.
out. It ended up working out. But I dropped out of college and had no motivation to go back. Now, here's a little Rebel Rootz twist. After he died, and I was 25, a couple weeks later, after going through all the, services and kind of buttoning everything up, I really lost connection with my name. People would say, I would be out and people would say, Megan, Megan, Megan. And I it's like I couldn't hear them. Like I didn't know who she was.
Interesting.
She died. There was a part of her that died with Kyle. And it was really a strange out-of-body experience to go through such a deep disconnection with my name and myself. I moved to Hawaii. Well, I traveled to Hawaii. And you know how that story goes. I was there for 5 years. So I went to see a friend and pretty much never came back. And I went by a different name there.
What was your name?
Oh! I went by Zoe.
Okay.
Zoe.
I can see that.
I can see a Zoe.
Yeah.
Got into teaching Tai Chi and yoga. And I taught Tai Chi at the Marriott, Tai Chi and yoga and water fitness at the Marriott in Kauai for almost 4 years. And everyone on that island knows me as Zoe.
That is so
I never even
interesting.
told them that my name was Megan.
Oh my gosh.
So I fully adopted this other personality. Not even personality. It was actually my tender self. It was like I was so reflective and going through grief and transition and peacemaking, and there's other layers of that story that we can save for another day that I won't get into. But I think that stripping of self, that deconstructing process really enabled me to come back into existence in a new way with a new perspective, which is what led me to my work as a professional fundraiser and auctioneer. Haha. You're welcome, Dad. And now I work with nonprofits, helping them raise money and strategizing. And I have this, fun job where I get to get on stage and wear evening gowns and hobnobbing with, socialites and philanthropists and speak on behalf of organizations and their missions and the good work that they do. And I have that tenderness and that empathy because I've been through such tragedy and loss. And I have my toughen up mom in my head that's like strong and powerful and vivacious and bringing a lot of curiosity and energy to the stage. So you never know why the things that happen to us, you never really know why they do until sometimes you're there.
Until it makes sense.
And then you
And
turn
one day it
back
makes
and
sense.
you go, oh, this is why I'm in Wilmington. This is why I found this path or went through this loss or this tragedy, because it helps piece together who you become.
Yeah,
It does.
Absolutely.
I think you always say like this isn't fair. Like you play the victim in that moment, right? But then if you can get through that moment and just look past, like I just actually had this whole experience a couple weeks ago because I was just like, oh, it's just not fair. It's not fair. I always, never happens the way I want it. And then I looked back and I was like, oh my gosh, it had to happen this way or I wouldn't be here for this.
Yeah.
What is that song? There's like a country song that's Thank God for Unanswered Prayers.
Garth Brooks.
Is that thank you?
Yeah.
Okay. So
Yeah,
because
that's a great
the
song.
whole point of the song is like what we pray for and what we wish for is not always what's best for us at the time.
Right.
Absolutely.
Totally accurate.
Yeah.
What's the most amount of money that you've ever raised? Can you say?
In the room, like in the room, 2 million. And I have a goal. Actually, I have an event this fall that the goal is 10 million.
Oh my god!
Can you tell us what the organization is?
I don't know if I can share the organization because they're pretty
Okay.
hush hush. What I will say is
category.
that
Can you give us a
they
category?
are an organization that is fighting. But, not all of my events it's really less about, for me, it's less about the amount raised and it's more about the impact that those dollars can do for that specific organization.
Yes.
Because like one of my other organizations, it's like we raised $100,000 this past spring and that will indefinitely change their ability to make impact. So you can raise millions of dollars, but for an
bills are
organization
bigger.
that if the organization is massive, those millions of dollars are paying salaries, right? So
Correct.
like
It's also the emotional impact.
it's scalability and it's the emotional
it's the
impact. Oh
awareness
yes.
and the way that you're making people feel in that room to connect them to that cause. You can't put a dollar amount on that.
And some of even the smallest dollars raised have the most emotional reward for me. And that's why I do it.
I think we had just met. We maybe a couple times at Toastmaster, and we actually caught up on an event that you just donated your time to. And
oh, that's right.
yeah, and I can't. It
Dreams.
was Dreams.
Oh.
Yeah, and she's like, I'm gonna be there. And I'm like, oh, she's like, you're the sponsor. She reached out. She's like, what do you want me to say? And I was like, okay. I mean, we just did that for a favor to our friend, and then I got to see you in action. So you did really good that, and I don't know how much we raised that day, but
Thank
it
you.
was really cool to
Yeah,
see it.
that was
in
a cute.
action.
That was a cute
was
event.
cute.
It was really
It's a
sweet.
great
Yeah, great organization.
All right. As we go around for the third time, tell me what you're currently doing or working on or where you're going.
Where am I going?
I know you haven't said anything about your book yet.
Enjoying myself so much.
You're over there writing books.
I really
and
I'm just so happy. It's a wonderful life.
What's the secret?
That's a good question. Just I don't know. Liking your own company and your connections with people like you. It's all come together here in Wilmington. I spent 20 years in Atlanta, and I had my dream job there in advertising, and I loved it, and it got me writing, I think. I found out, I'm segueing here, a childhood friend kept everything, all the scrapbooks, all the yearbooks, and all the photographs, and she had kept a little middle school newsletter called The Outpost or The Outlook or something, and in it was a short story by Anita Coffey.
Aww.
And I was 14 years old and don't even remember writing it, but it was a story about a boy named Tommy who lived on a ranch, and he had brothers, and he told his brothers, I'm going to go out and I'm going to capture a wild horse. And he sets off on his mare. What was this damn horse's name? Lollipop or something. So he goes up this mountain, and sure enough, he finds a little foal that's near starvation, and the mare is near death, and he rescues the foal and carries it down the mountain. The horse is following him behind, and he falls and twists his ankle. And so Lollipop goes back to the ranch and arrives, and they follow her hoof because it had snowed, but anyway, and he's safe. So, but it all started out, he's on the porch and his leg is in a cast or whatever, and he's watching this foal, frolic in the corral that he has rescued. And he said, I wouldn't change anything. I would do it all over again. It was just this little short story because I loved horses.
Anita, are you bringing
horses.
this back to life? Are you bringing
Yeah,
the story
I
back
feel like
in
this is
novel
good.
form?
It was really kind of dorky, but it wasn't horrible.
murder.
I know, I know. When I found out this sweet little Anita had written a book about murder,
Blood will
Blood
tell.
will tell.
Blood will tell.
I
Thank
was
y'all.
so impressed.
I can't believe that I finished it. It took me 8 years, and I'm very proud of it. And I had to write a sex scene. That was the worst part ever, y'all.
Too
It is
arousing?
not what?
Too arousing.
No. My book club said, Anita, it was very tastefully done. I said, oh, thank God. Because it's just embarrassing when you think about family and friends. And
That's a good point.
There's a Seinfeld episode about that where Elaine, she records something really, really dirty, and it's just for fun. And George and Jerry get hold of it, and so they're immediately thinking that Elaine. They're thinking of her as this erotic creature now. And I thought, I don't want people to think that this is my experiences.
I would lay it all down.
Necessarily.
I mean, 76. Who cares? Like, let's go out as like that rebel in the bed.
Why not at age
Right?
76?
Who cares at this point, right?
Why not? But it was fun. But you have to have a sex scene. I'm sorry, I had to, because there was
Don't
a
apologize.
newsroom,
No,
a
don't apologize to
newsroom,
us.
yeah, a
all
newsroom
good.
romance. So I have a lot of people asking me about a sequel, and it was sort of like a beach read. I think it was
It was a 2-day read. I could not put it down.
bless your heart. Short chapters. I've heard people like that, and so you
Love
could get
short
through
chapters.
it. And maybe Pat and Amanda can go on and have another big investigative thing that they do together, or I can fast forward and they've become co-partners in a private investigation thing. I don't know.
So, ladies, I heard book 2's on its way.
Yeah, I'm
Is that what you heard?
excited.
With a horse.
With a
I
horse.
haven't
Little
not
Tommy.
I haven't put pen to paper yet, but it might happen. But what I'm really excited about is that I was able to narrate it. I knew I had to have an audible version, and I've always loved to read out loud. And so, and I had 24 different voices, and that was rough. So
wow.
I hired a voice coach to help me with that. You do amazing work with your accents. You're so wonderful. And I just needed to have a different. I had two men talking just back and forth, and I knew I had to distinguish between them. I had two young women, and gruff editors at the newspaper. So that was fun. And I was telling, I think Jamie, that it took 25 plus hours to record an 8-hour and a half
That
book.
makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I loved every
a lot.
minute of it, and so now my next thing is I'd love to get into voice work, whether it's
I love
commercials
that
or
for you.
other people's books. I would love that.
I have a
love it.
friend
It was
to introduce
it was
you
a
to.
great experience. But I'll think about a sequel. I will. Thank you for asking.
DSV, where's life taking you?
I call myself a dynamic creator, which means that I have so many passions, I don't even know what to call myself. But obviously, I'm going to always do interior design. And then I would love to get into fashion.
We'll pair up.
Okay. Well, we have different styles, but, I'm not going to wear leopard print. Love you, but it's not happening.
I love leopard.
Returning to my roots, because I've always loved the tree houses. I have property in Costa Rica that I've started building tree houses on to reconnect people to nature. That's giving my inner child, some love. But I also have a documentary that is 5 years in the works that I need to complete about endometriosis. I am speaking and doing keynote speeches, and I think my goal is to use my story to connect with others and make a difference that way with impact. I've written an autobiography memoir called 180 Degrees, Emerging from Childhood Darkness. I would love to get that on the road and accompany that with my speeches. It's really just about connecting with people. When I look at what all these things have in common, it's about making the environment you are in better, brighter, more colorful, more joyful, but also connecting to other people. I love sharing stories. I love meeting new people. I love hearing other people's stories. So anything across the board, I feel like there's no limit. Let's just go for it.
I love it.
And you're such a connector. I mean, I've been here for 3 years, and I feel like so many people that I have met and have been referred to me have come through DSV. I mean, I have contractors at my house right now who DSV introduced me to.
And those tree houses will not have a dirt floor, will they?
They
No.
will not.
They will not.
They will not.
They're still going to have to sweep them.
Are those like Airbnbs?
They
like
will be.
if I ever make it there, I
Of
can rent
course.
one. Oh, I would love that.
I'll send you there, Anita.
I know, we need to do a toasty adventure.
I know.
Field trip.
Megan, what's on your plate?
I'm about to kick off a new brand, actually. So I say new. It's the Megan McRoberts brand. My company, Boundless Impact Agency, I've been running for 10 years, and it's a little too robust in its presence for what it is now, which is just me. As I said, I downsized my company, let go of 12 employees, 32 contractors, and it's now really just me and one other. So Boundless Impact Agency feels a little robust. So Megan McRoberts' brand is really going to focus on what I've already been doing, which is fundraising as an auctioneer, but also diversifying into education, speaking, possibly following Danielle's, writing her coattails here, possibly writing a book, probably stay in my lane of fundraising and donor psychology and maximizing giving. But what I've really honed in on, my skill, is moving people into action through words, is presenting, presenting information in a way to a body of people, an audience that helps them move into action. And I think that can mean a lot of different things. So in fundraising, it's moving them to give.
Yeah.
In education, it's moving them to plan and how to execute, et cetera. So I'm excited to see where it takes me. I'm trying to not have such a plan and just know what my skill is, what I'm good at, and then let the universe decide for me what's next.
I feel that when you're in alignment, things just show up in your lap. People show up at your door.
Yeah.
You don't even have to do the work.
That's right.
It will come to you and it
The
will
door's
happen
just
for
open,
you. Yes.
and it flows.
Yes.
It super flows. I want to thank all of you guys for coming today. This was so much fun. We kind of had a different little itinerary that we were going to do today, but Jamie's like, throw them all together and let's see how this goes. And I love it. And again, this is what Rebel Rootz was all about for me, is just listening to stories. I had no idea about your story. I mean, I didn't know your whole story. I heard bits and pieces of that, but and we found out how amazing you look at your age. Like, I'm just like, it's my goal at this point. I knew a little bit about you, but we're just close, and I wanted you on the show. So this is what this show's all about. It's just to hear strong women and men's stories, and so other people can connect.
Yeah.
Strong and vulnerable.
Yes.
Check out the Rebel Rootz Show on Instagram and Facebook, and the rebelrootshow.com. You think you could close it out with some auctioneering?
Yvonne,
Let's do
you're gonna put me on the spot.
Whoop, whoop.
What should we auction off?
My book.
Tell me about this book.
Well, I heard that it's what is it? It's 1,200 pages here.
Here we have
Chanel.
the Chanel, the Impossible Collection. This book has been handcrafted with some very highly curated looks, looking back from the last several decades, generations of style and wealth and class and sophistication that has influenced our entire community of design and fashion. We're going to start it off here at, I don't know, what do you say, $5,000? And $5,000 looking for it. Anybody, anywhere? 5,000, thank you now. And 6,000 looking for 7,000 for it. 7,000, are you going to let her do that to you? Now 8,000 asking for 9,000, 9,000 and 10 your way. 10,000 and now 11,000, 20,000 and sold your way for age before beauty.
I love all of you guys.
That was
Visit
awesome.
a Toastmaster
Thanks,
near
Awesome.
you to find these incredible people.